Hello, this is Pat Walker at Mission Winners. I find our thought processes, it's fascinating how we develop them. And I find it interesting how certain techniques that we use in the realm of stocks and stock analysis can have a bias and introduce a bias in our decision making. Man, that screws us up. We got to think clearly. I mean, folks, it's like the quote, a confused mind always says no. So what do we want to do? Let's try to eliminate bias. It will help us make better decisions in real time. And isn't that what you're after? I mean, seriously, if we look at charts, I'm going to be real specific. If we're constantly looking at charts after the fact, we say, well, that was easy to see. There was nothing to that. Well, a piece of cake. Yeah, that's what I do. Sure, that's no problem. You're cheating yourself because you're looking at the facts after something's happened, not before. So what do we try to teach? And what do we try to coach? Looking at things, looking at charts before things happen so you can feel it. You can understand it psychologically and technically and intellectually, but you can feel it emotionally. And I'm going to tell you something. The biggest part of this game, folks, is not what's before your eyes. It's what's between your ears. So we address that. So anyway, let's rock and roll. What do you say? We're looking at the spiders. I like to look at the spiders. I don't really look at the diamonds ever. I don't even have the diamonds in my database. You say, what? It's 30 stocks. It's not the market. I'm not really wrapped up in 30 stocks. I want to see what the big picture is doing. Bigger picture helps us make better decisions. Spiders. Little bit of game plan for you. This is the 200-day, the purple. The green is the 50-day simple. This is 200-day simple, 50-day simple. The 20 is the blue is the 20-day simple. And the yellow is the 8-day exponential. You can say, whoa, wait a minute. Why do you use the 8-day? I'll share this with you, a little history. Years ago, I did a lot of research on what Ed Seykota was doing, S-C-Y-K-O-T-A. Ed Seykota is one of my heroes. I had the great pleasure of meeting that man and talking to him years ago. Anyway, many years ago, by the way. I mean, like decades ago. Anyway, he talks about, in his research, using the 5-period exponential moving average. He's trading commodities, which is great. I have found through extensive research that the 8-period exponential moving average works great, and it's what I use. Now, you can say, well, I use the 10 simple. That's fine. That's fine. That's not my point. My point is you find something that is statistically valid that will work for you. That's the whole issue here. Find tools, techniques, strategies that work for you. And guess what? You'll be light years ahead of the competition and you'll own the concept. And that's really huge. I mean, I don't know if you tell, I get kind of fired up about this stuff. I love this. So, we're looking right now at the spiders. And it's trending up. I mean, you can look at this. I read this years ago. You want to know what the trend of something is? Take a picture of it, tape it to the wall, and back up to the other side of the room and look at the picture. What you see, there's your trend. You can do the same thing right here with the spiders. It's walking up the 50-day. It came down here to the 50-day, right here. Look at this. It came down to the 50-day on heavy volume. So let's analyze this. It was rallying up and everything was great. This bar right here, up on heavy volume, down on heavy volume, but less volume than it went up on. See that right there? And then runs up and closes down, but on extremely low volume. And then it drops and reverses and closes up on a pickup in volume. But folks, do you see this bar right here? Right there. See the low volume? It was a pickup versus the previous day, but it was less than average daily volume. It was a telltale sign to maybe be a little careful. Is it a sign to sell everything? No, it's not a sign to sell anything. It's just a sign telling you, hey, I rallied back up, but I did it on less volume than I fell. Okay. And then this bar right here, it gaps up and then drops on a big pickup in volume. See that? And then it gaps down and closes near its lows on heavy volume. Not as heavy as the day before, but still heavier volume, all right, than the average daily volume. Not as heavy as this bar, but heavier volume than all these other bars here, right? A little bit of selling. And it did something, folks. We combine, and I encourage you to do this too. I'm not telling you what to do. We combine price and volume with a couple of very important moving averages to help us make decisions. So then it drops down, rallies up on less volume, gaps up and reverses down just a little bit, but it's above the 20-day, still above the 20-day. Then it gaps down and shoots and closes near the highs on a pickup in volume. This bar right there. See that? That's good. That's good. The trend is still up. And then it gaps down and closes down, bounces off the 50. Look at the volume on this bar, folks. That's the heaviest volume in over a month. That was serious selling right there. That's not mom and dad selling. That's serious. Then it gaps up. But notice this bar right here. See that? I'm going to do something for you to help you. That bar right there. It gaps up. It runs up and touches that right here. You see that? Touches the 20-day and the 8-day. And what's it do, folks? It drops. And it closed in the bottom half of its range. There was some selling on that bar right there. Now, is that reason enough to sell a bunch of stock? No, but it's just telling you there's not a lot of power. The next day, it gaps up on average daily volume. It's okay. Not powerful, but it's okay. Gaps up, closes near the highs, average daily volume. Gaps up, closes near the highs on a drop up in volume. And notice this bar right here. It just surpassed the highs of this bar. It's okay, but it's not that powerful. Price and volume measure power. The next bar, it gaps down and closes down on a pickup in volume. Just average daily. It's not a panic. The trend is up here, okay? You had a couple warning signs here, especially this bar, okay? And this bar, and this bar, right? But it's going up. Notice the volume on these bars right here. See that? They are all less than these bars. But it's grinding up, and it's walking up the moving average. This is just like a warning shot across the bow. It's telling you, hey, you kind of want to watch. Be careful here. Does it mean sell everything? No. Heck no. It's moving up. Goes up. Inside bar. Slight pickup in volume. Drops but on less volume. Goes up. Gaps up and closes near the highs on low volume. And again, it's not saying sell me. It's just saying, hey, there ain't a lot of power in us right here, you know. So now here's what we're going to do. Let's just advance at a bar. Oh, look at that. It gaps down. It drops down. It closes in the midpoint, just above its midpoint in the range. Lost the 8-day for a while and did it on a pickup in volume. The trend is still up, but there was some selling on that bar too. So we've got more bars with volume. Let's advance it one day. It drops down. Look at this. It closes here. You see that, folks? See the close right there? There's the close. That little hash mark to the right. And then it drops down. And look what it does. Gaps down and closes down right here, just above the 20-day on a big pickup in volume. See the volume on that bar? The volume on this bar, just to let you know, is 113,700,000 shares. The volume on this bar is 113,845,000 shares. This bar is a little bit heavier, but this is a big pickup than all these other bars. Okay? You're on the 20-day. Advance it one bar. And again, folks, I'm not doing this to nuts and bolts this, okay, or to irritate you. I'm showing you really good investors study the charts. Study the charts. By the way, in all these moves that I've done through the years, I don't look at any 5-minute charts. I'm not into that. I'm not into day trading. Now, if you are, that's fine. That's fine. It just doesn't work for me. I'm after bigger picture trends and ride them. Then you get this. Look at this. Look where it gapped down. Gaps down, runs all the way back up and then drops down. You know, we always talk about open, high, low, close. It opened right there. You see the bar? I'll do something for you. See that bar where it opened? See that bar where it closed? It closed below where it opened on really heavy volume. People talk with their mouths and vote with their pocketbooks. They're voting. They're selling. They're selling. And they sold in mass. Don't argue with that. You say, oh, it'll bounce back the next day. Don't impose your will on the market. It's my own quote. When we accept the fact we don't know the future, we see the future more clearly. Let's advance it one bar. It gaps up and drops down again on heavy, look at this. This is huge, folks. Do you see this bar right here? On this bar, it did 113,800,000 shares. On this bar, it did 219 million shares. That's not mom and dad selling. That's serious pressure. Advance it a bar. Down again. Gaps up. Look at this. It gaps up. See the open right there on that bar? Runs up and closes down again on really heavy volume. Not as heavy as the day before. That's liquidation, folks. And then you get this. Gaps down and closes near its lows on huge selling pressure. Right there. Advance it. Oh, it gaps down, it drops, and it closes near the highs. See that? On unbelievable volume. So it was met with some support on this bar. Do you agree? Yes. But here's my question for you. What's the trend? The trend is down. The trend is down. So right here, you're betting against the bigger picture trend. Does it mean that it can't go up some? Sure. Let's advance and see what happens. Oh, it gaps up and runs up. You think we're the only people in the world that didn't notice this bar? That it gapped down and reversed and closed near the highs on a pickup in volume? And the next, people saw that and they think, maybe we're going to gap up the next day. And we gap up, we drop, and we close near the highs. But I want to share something with you. We always combine price action, open, high, low, close, and volume. By the way, you can say, man, this is pretty dang involved. Folks, I'll tell you what, you do this a couple of times, it's just so firmly ingrained in your head, it's a piece of cake. It's just like, boom, done. Goes up, gaps up, drops, and closes at the highs on heavy volume. Whoa, this is beautiful. Pushes through the 200-day. How's the volume versus this bar? How's the volume versus this bar? All right? There's some selling, lifting, heavy volume, but less than the selling bars. And then, folks, it gaps up and it runs up and closes near the lows on more selling pressure. That's just wicked. That's wicked. Oh, look at this. It gaps up and closes near the highs. Let's all do the happy dance. How's the volume on that bar, folks? How is it? How's the volume on this bar versus this bar versus this bar versus this bar versus this bar and this bar? Tell me. It's low. It's low. It's less. And then it drops down. See where it opened right there? It gapped down, runs up, and closes down on another pickup in volume. That ain't no good. And then you get this. Gaps down, reverses up on a pickup in volume. That's serious selling going on here. Okay. Now, does it have a higher low here? Yes. That's one potential plus. The low here is higher than the low here. We always combine the variables together. You get that. That would hurt. That's why you got to be careful with bottom fishing. You got to be really careful. Every time you buy something, this is what I always teach the VIPs. You got to have rules and tactics to get in. And by default, by having that, you will have rules and tactics to get out. It's that easy, that simple. Runs up, gaps up, falls and closes near the highs, heavy volume, but less volume than the selling bars. Isn't that interesting? And then you get the gap down again. and closes down. Heavy volume. Less volume than this bar, but still heavy volume. And then you get this. More selling. Again, it's just constantly showing you selling over and over. Then it shoots up right here on heavy volume. But how's the volume on this bar versus this bar? It's less. Then it gaps down again. I mean, what's the trend, folks? The trend is down. How long is it going to last? I don't know the future. Do you? And by the way, if you think you do, all of a sudden, perceptual bias is entering into your thought processes. Don't let your thoughts run the show. Let the price action, price and volume and trends tell you what to do. Gap up right here. Low volume. Drops down again. Heavy volume. Look at the volume on this bar versus this bar. 240, inside bar. Slightly heavier average daily volume, but less than the day before. It's an inside bar. All right. Drops down again. Pick up in volume. Drops down again. Less volume, but still heavy. Starts to go up. How's the volume on this bar, folks? Nothing. By the way, if you use this, this can be $1 million education for you. Literally. Literally. Right here. Gaps up, runs up, closes in the bottom half of its range. Slight pickup in volume. No real power there. Starts to lift up. Less volume, but it starts to lift up. Maybe it's going to continue, but no real power here, is there? Inside bar right here. Inside bar right there. Low volume. And that is as of now. How's this bar? So far, this is today, real time, Friday. No real power there, okay? Anyway, I wanted to share this with you. I wanted to go through, and I know you're going to say, good Lord, that's 17 minutes. Hey, that's 17 minutes that could save your frickin' life if you apply it. Study price and volume every day, and you will be light years ahead of the competition in making good decisions. I had this quote taped to my computer monitor for 20 plus years. I'll believe in what I see and not in what I believe. I think it was from Dave Landry. I'll believe in what I see and not in what I believe. Let the chart tell you what to do. Also turn off all the noise. You'll be better for it. Anyway, I wanted to share this with you. I hope it helps you. This is what we teach. This is what we do.